There are many telltale similarities between Christian and Norse pagan beliefs. I have detailed some of them here for the purpose of comparison. Number 1. Afterlife. In the Old Testament of the Bible, the idea of an afterlife was rejected. However, in the New Testament, the notion was gradually introduced. The most logical explanation for this was to make Christianity more appealing to the pagans that they were trying to convert. Also, both Valhalla and heaven, Helheim and hell, are extremely similar. Number 2. Syncretism. In the Church's desperation to convert as many people as possible, they actually allowed pagans to continue worshipping their own gods, as long as they accepted that Jesus Christ was supreme. The Church encouraged pagans to view their gods as saints or angels rather than actual deities. When Christianity first entered pagan Europe, they encouraged the local populations to worship the pagan gods as intermediaries to the Holy Trinity, Jesus, Jehovah, and the Holy Ghost. Ironically, this tactic only serves to prove that the Christians who vehemently claim to be monotheistic are actually closet polytheists. Number 3. Resurrection. In both Norse mythology and Christianity, a deity dies and is reborn. For the Norse, this is Baldr, and for the Christians, this is Jesus. Number 4. Helheim. In Norse mythology, if a person dies and doesn't die in battle, they will most likely end up in Helheim, ruled by the goddess Hel, from which the place takes its name. In Christianity, a person goes to hell if they've lived a bad life. The metaphors behind versions of hell are virtually the same, i.e., if you lead a bad or unsuccessful life, you will end up in a common grave without honour or respect. If you lead a good or successful life, you will end up in Valhalla or heaven, where you'll be honoured and mourned after you die. Interestingly, the Christian description of hell may also stem from the Vikings. In Iceland, the land of ice and fire, there are great fissures into the centre of the earth due to the fact that the country is located on top of an ocean fault line. When the Vikings first travelled to Iceland, they actually thought that they were seeing Helheim whenever they witnessed geysers or other volcanic activity. Number 5. The all-powerful God. In primitive religions, the most powerful god was the one who gave the most to their followers, and of course possessed the most force or strength. According to the Bible, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah as well as the walls of Jericho. He allowed his people to be prosecuted when they turned against him, and rewarded those who remained loyal. But he made up for all of this by gifting his son to the world. This immensely powerful deity must have greatly impressed the pagans, but of course this was yet another ploy to help aid conversion. Number 6. Promises of wealth and land. The Christian God promised land and prosperity, two things which must have sounded very appealing to the Vikings who were constantly raiding at the time. They also believed that wealth and status could help them earn a place in Valhalla when they died, another conversion tactic. Number 7. Sacrifice for the greater good. In Norse mythology, Odin sacrificed his left eye to acquire knowledge. In Christianity, Jesus sacrificed himself to save mankind from eternal damnation and suffering. Number 8. The consequences of greed. In the Bible, Eve, the first female human, cannot resist stealing an apple from a magical tree which grew in the Garden of Eden. In Norse mythology, the goddess Eden grows fruit which allows the other gods to retain their youthfulness, but the gods greedily devour the fruits grown beyond the walls of Asgard. In the end, old age catches up with the gods. Also, in the beginning of the Eden story, the god Thiazi, disguised as an eagle, offers the gods his magic, but at a price. The two stories contain striking metaphoric similarities. Number 8. Sacrifice of a deity. In Norse mythology, Odin hung from Yggdrasil, pierced by his own spear, for 9 days. This story bears a curious resemblance to Jesus' crucifixion. Number 9. The creation of the first humans and the world. In Norse mythology, the first humans, Askr and Embla, are created by Vili, Ve, and Odin, who bestow upon them the gifts of intelligence, movement, speech, the breath of life, hearing, and sight. They also gave them their names and a home within Midgard, the human world. In Christianity, Adam and Eve are the first humans. Their names alone sound very similar to Askr and Embla, and God gifts them the very same things. Number 10. The end of the world. Both Ragnarok and the Christian end times are very alike. I'm sure there are many more similarities, but I hope that I have given you some food for thought. It is hard to know whether Christianity deliberately stole its stories from paganism or if the two were simply entwined, as many different religions are very similar, because Norse mythology was mostly written down by Christians. However, most archaeological evidence, such as picture stones, seem to depict scenes from the stories, and the stones predate Christianity.